Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of our EAFC 25 career mode here with Southampton. We're returning today, kicking off season 2 after we secured survival for another season in the Premier League. So we've got loads to crack on with today. Let's just dive straight into the action. Well, the first thing we're going to do this year is take a look at our board objectives. We did pretty well hitting them last year. They want us to sign 3 youth players. That's absolutely fine. Sign 3 players born in Europe. I think we should probably hit that. It's a high priority. I'm not too sure why. They want us to increase the club worth by 20%. Finish mid-table in the Premier League this year, although it is a very low objective. So they do want us to improve on last year, where it was just avoid relegation and reach the round of 16 in the FA Cup. So I guess the most important thing is, with those objectives in mind, how much money have the board given us this year? Where is it? 52 million. Okay, that's a decent bit of money to work with, to be fair. We've got some players that are going to be sold as well, so we should be able to raise our funds up quite significantly. In fact, let's go through the squad hub now and work out which players we want to get rid of on permanence and which players we're probably going to loan out, because I know there are a few contracts that I have to sort, as there are a couple of the youngsters that I want to renew and then get loaned out for next season. So I've just offered out a whole host of contracts to young players with their deals up at the end of this season. You'll be seeing them on screen now. So contracts have gone out to Zach Orr, Lewis Payne, Nico Lawrence, Don Ballard, Cam Bragg, Sam Amayor and Tyler Dibbling. The 2 of those at the end, Sam AA and Dibbling, the 2 probably most likely to make it in this team and to keep an eye on, but all of those guys are going to be going back on the loan list as they're just nowhere near good enough for the first team yet, so we'll look to get them out and get them some first team football. So here's a full look at the transfer list. All of the guys that have just been given new contracts have gone on the loan list, along with Matsuki and Shay Charles. I think they were the only ones. And then as for the transfer list, the players that we're actively looking to sell, we've got Juan, the Brazilian striker. Of course, Jack Stevens handed in a transfer request. Ryan Fraser, Onuachu, and Adam Armstrong, who's another who has handed in a transfer request. So yeah, quite a few players that we're looking to shift out of the door, and I would like to try and get some of these guys out before we look at bringing new names into the club. Right, well, before we do anything else, I'm going to send my scouts out. Now, I actually, at the end of last season, upgraded our 4-star judgment scout to a 5-star. So what I'm going to do first off is send Humphreys to England. I always keep 1 scout in the nation that I'm playing in, so if I can find where my own country England is, I had the same issue last year. We're going to send Humphreys out to England once again, looking for those homegrown players. Last year we looked for attacking players, so I think maybe this year we should look for some more defensive based players from England. Now, of course, there are so many new nations to scout. I do want to get to quite a few of them, but I did have a comment, and it sort of makes sense, if I can find them, for us to go and scout Senegal. We did have a comment saying go and try and find the next Sadio Mane. So that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to go Cam, left wing, left mid and striker, because that's sort of where Mane has played in his career. So I quite like the idea of looking for the next Sadio Mane out in Senegal. And as for the next scout, we've obviously got 1 in Africa, 1 in Europe. I feel like sending one of them to somewhere really, really random, and I haven't quite decided yet where that is going to be. Maybe somewhere in Asia, like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, something like that. Maybe the Maldives, some ballers growing up on the beaches. I'm really tempted by the Maldives. I don't know what it is. I just love the idea of scouting the Maldives. I think that's such a cool idea. So, do you know what? Fuck it. We're going to go to the Maldives and we are going to look for... Well, we'll look for some players on the right-hand side because we've not scouted any of those positions yet. And then maybe CDM and centre mid as well, I think. Yeah, let's do that. We've got CDMs from both England and from the Maldives, but I'm not too fussed about that. It just means we've got a bigger pool of players. So Senegal looking for the next Sadio Mane, England looking for some homegrown talents, and the Maldives looking for some ballers growing up on the beaches of the island. I'm really looking forward to scouting the Maldives. Just a quick look at the youth academy. We've still got some absolute ballers in here. What I think I might do is give Lewis Turner a pro deal because I think he's going to ask for one at some point this season. I might as well promote him to the senior team now and then spend the summer trying to loan him out. The rest of the guys in the academy are 16 or under. Obviously the 15 and 14 year olds we cannot promote anyway, but I just don't want to keep him in the academy and not get any development on him when I think he's good enough to go and play football lower down in the English leagues. Well, I've actually just added a few more players to the loan list, but there you see it. Lewis Turner has the potential to be special. You love to see it. He will be added to the loan list, and similarly with, where is he, Connor Cox, we'll look to get him out and abuse the loan system and try and get some good development. Right, I think I am ready to just start simming through and hopefully get some bids for our players and get them out the door. As Jack Stevens, I don't really want to sell him, but he's handed in that transfer request. I definitely want to keep him in England if he's going anywhere. Also, guys, should have mentioned as well, this is how the squad is currently looking heading into the new season. A lot of these resis are going to either be sold or go out on loan. As for the starting lineup, I definitely think a new centre-back partner for Harwood Bellis, a right winger to play in front of Sugawara down this side, maybe a new midfielder to partner Flynn Downs, as he and Gruev are quite similar, maybe an attacking midfielder, but definitely a striker. Other than that, like, rating-wise, I'm pretty happy with the team. There is a bit of a gap, especially in centre-back and right wing, so they are probably the two most important areas of the pitch for me. Well, some big bids here. Firstly, Lewis Turner, we will delegate the loan. I'd like to get him out for 2 years. A bid here from Burnley for Onuachu. Speaking of, you know, who came up? Who won the playoffs last year? Because obviously you can't find out before the season starts. It was Sheffield United and Leeds and Luton Town. Another interesting bid here. Adam Armstrong, of course, handed in the transfer request, wanted by Nottingham Forest, and I quite like that move. Yes, he was our top scorer last year. I don't really want to part with him, but it looks as if we're going to have to because he's handed in the transfer request and I can't talk him round. So Armstrong looks as if he could be heading to the City ground, but the elephant in the room, I'm sure you guys saw it a moment ago, Yukinari Sugawara, wanted by Mikel Arteta. And if you're new to the channel, the way we do things around here, I don't like to stand in players' ways. If a big club comes in, like Arsenal, like City, Chelsea, United, Spurs, any of the top sides really, I'm not going to stand in my players' way. And for a player like Sugawara, in the prime of his career, the chance to go and play for Arsenal, I don't think it would be fair to completely reject that. I am going to be realistic and ask for a reasonable chunk of money because I do think he's worth it. A fantastic first season for us in the Premier League, and Arteta's not budging on 21.1. As I say, I'm not going to stand in players' ways, but I'm also not going to be undercut. 26.5 million, and not a sale that I was looking to make, but Sugawara looks as if he could be heading to the Gunners. Another bid here for Onuachu, and interestingly enough, it's from Unai Emery's Aston Villa. And we did actually have a bid in January for Onuachu from Emery, but I turned it down because I wanted to keep him here just because I didn't really want to make major changes. He scored the winning goal at Villa Park, and we're not going to get more than 5.5 million for the giant central centre forward. So I'm just going to let him depart. I said I wanted to get him off the books this season. And the first deal of the window is a big one. Yukinari Sugawara. Didn't take him long to sign the contract. But to be honest, I'm not too disappointed about this. Number one, because we get a great bit of money for him, 26.5 million. Not going to stand in his way. But what this actually means for the team is that KWP can come across to his more natural right back position, and I can go and sign the left back that I wanted to bring in, and I don't have the selection issue of having Sugawara and Walker-Peters. So Arsenal coming in for him does actually make my decision slightly easier. Another big deal going through here, and it's our top scorer from last season, Adam Armstrong, staying in the Premier League, but switching St Mary's for the City ground. Handed in that transfer request. I don't want to keep players at the club that don't want to be here. Well, 2 big deals already completed, and there is a third one. Onuachu heading to Aston Villa. And to be honest, I'm quite liking the business that we're doing so far. We're overhauling the squad, but it's exactly what I said I wanted to do. And another deal going through, and it's one of the young lads going out on loan, Lewis Turner, heading to the Hawthorns to join up with the Baggies for 2 years. I really like that loan deal. Man, we are getting these players out the door so fast. I think that's the Brazilian striker Juan heading out to Wolfsberger. Only £1 million, but it's more just about getting him off the books. And another deal going through here. This is the Japanese midfielder Matsuki heading to Spain to join up with Spencer Owen's Real Oviedo for 2 years. Well, we've had a bid here for Ryan Manning from Bournemouth, who were of course relegated last year, so I quite like that signing for them. Heading back down to the Championship for £4 million, gets him out of the door, and it's another player heading to a realistic destination. Well, we've just seen a whole flurry of players depart the club, which is exactly what we wanted, to get all of these guys out the door as quickly as we can. Still a hell of a lot of players to go, but what I am going to do is make our first signing of the summer, and it is to replace Yukinari Sugawara. As I said, KWP is going to go across to the right, and there's a left back that I've been keeping an eye on, and you've probably worked out who it is. Leif Davis of Ipswich Town, of course, relegated back down to the Championship, and I think out of all the players that they've got, Leif Davis is one of those that is definitely good enough to be playing in the top division. His physicals are fantastic. He's really, really quick. I love the high stamina as well. And I think having he and Shirkin down that left-hand side just gives us a more natural balance, both being left-footed. So as Ipswich have gone back down to the Championship, I'm going to hope to get him close to that market valuation. Now, my initial bid that you can see here is actually going to be, I'm going to bring that down to 13.5 plus Jack Stevens. Of course, Stevens has handed in a transfer request, so it would have made sense to keep him in the Championship. They don't want Stevens, but I reckon I can get him for that valuation, 14.5 million. And Kieran McKenna, knowing that he can't play hardball now that they've been relegated back down to the Championship, that's an absolute steal for Leif Davis. Well, Leif Davis becomes our first signing of the summer, and I think it's a fantastic deal at just 14.5 million. I've given him Ryan Manning's number 3 shirt as well, with Ryan looking as if he's heading out the door. And as an attacking wing back, I think Leif Davis is perfect to give us the balance down that left-hand side. What a fantastic piece of business to kick off the transfer window. Well, it looks as if another departure here, and I think that's Ronnie Edwards heading out on loan, going to Crystal Palace, so I quite like that one. Keeping him in the Premier League, and we'll see how he develops. I've just got too many central defenders at the moment. Another couple of interesting bids here. Ryan Fraser wanted by Rangers, happy to just let him go. Shay Charles wanted by Ipswich on loan, again, happy to send him out. We can only do a 1-year loan. And an interesting bid here for Joe Aribo from Everton. For that little of a fee, I'd rather just keep him at the club. He's a good squad player to have. He's versatile. He might be 28 years of age now, but I'd rather keep Joe Aribo at the club. Well, another deal going through here. I have a feeling that's Ryan Manning. Yes, it is. Heading to Bournemouth, staying on the south coast, but joining not a rival, because as I've been told frequently, Bournemouth and Brighton are not south coast rivals of Southampton, and they are not derbies. But he is staying on the south coast, as he will join up with Bournemouth. I'm still trying to get rid of Jack Stevens, but I keep getting bids from abroad. I'm trying to keep him in England if possible. Well, all these departures have seen our budget raised to £80 million, and I think I'm going to go in for the big one. I've had an eye on him since Bournemouth were relegated in the summer. I said that we need a striker to fill the boots of Adam Armstrong and to lead our line. And I think this man, Evanilson, the Brazilian, relegated with Bournemouth, and I really, really like the look of him. He's got a little bit of pace about him, but he's strong, he's good in the air. The stamina is okay. The reactions are fantastic along with the attack positioning. And if you get him in front of goal, he's going to finish it as well. 83 at finishing, 84 ball control. I think this is a perfect time to sign the Brazilian now that Bournemouth have been relegated back down to the Championship. Similarly with Leif Davis, I'm hoping we can get him close to the valuation of around 30 million. Let's see if we can bring the Brazilian to St Mary's. Yeah, he was obviously signed in real life as the replacement for Dominic Solanke, who's gone to Tottenham, and I do think in time he will do really well at the club. But obviously in the save here, Bournemouth relegated under Iraola, and I think he might be the man that can take us to the next level. They don't want Jack Stevens, which isn't really a surprise. I'm really trying to keep him in England, but I still think we can get him for around 30, maybe 32 million pound. 31, that's a really good deal, to be fair. Let's go 30.5, as I reckon we've got one more negotiation. And for 30.5 million, the Brazilian looks as if he's heading to St Mary's. So Evanilson is in, our second signing of the summer, and I think this one shows some real intent that we mean business and we want to take that next step after surviving last year in the Premier League. Really, really good bit of business signing another player from a relegated side, and I think Evanilson could be that step up to fire us to a sort of comfortable mid-table finish in the Premier League. I said to the Brazilian, I know you've just moved to the country down on the south coast, but don't worry about moving. We'll bring you here to Southampton, and the Brazilian is in and takes the number 9. Big responsibility on his shoulders. Another player departing the club here is highly talented Tyler Dibbling heads to Coventry City on a 2-year loan. Again, I really like that one, keeping him in England. Similarly to this deal with Don Ballard, I do think that Don Ballard could have a really good future, and if he develops well at Hull City, we could see that in the save. And another deal going through, and this time that is Ryan Fraser heading to Rangers. I don't mind that one. It's a one and done for Ryan Fraser. I think that's another loan deal going through. It is Shay Charles heading to Ipswich Town. Potentially part of the Leif Davis deal, heading to Portman Road for 1 year. Well, we've got about 3 weeks until the season begins. We've got 50 million in the budget, which is pretty much what we had at the beginning of the campaign. The problem is I've got 2 or 3 players, probably 3 positions that I would really like to bring someone in. I do think that we could do with a new centre-back. Of course, it's not going to be Virgil van Dijk. I've got a few names on the shortlist, although Bitshiabu's just moved to Aston Villa. So a few names on the shortlist there. I'd also like to bring in a right midfielder or right winger for this team. Again, got quite a few names on the shortlist. Potentially a new midfielder. I'd love to bring JWP back. And now does seem like a good time to get him. But I don't know. We've got quite a few similar players. And I would like to bring in an attacking midfielder as well. So I've got so many players that I want to bring in. And I don't think we've got enough money to get them all. Well, I think the 2 main positions that I have to focus on are centre-back and right wing, because they are the ones that I said I wanted to strengthen in the summer. I do like the look of Zeno de Bast, but he's going to cost us probably around 30 million, which is quite a lot of money. I've got Victor Lindelof as a more experienced player. Toby Alderweireld is a former Saint, but I can't bring him in. I like Adama Najalo, really quick, physical central defender. But I think the man that I'm going to go for is Omar Solé of RB Salzburg. We can get him for probably close to the market valuation of 16 million. He's 6'4", so he's very good in the air, and he's quick as well. 71 acceleration, 86 sprint speed, high stamina, high jumping, high strength. And I think he will be a fantastic partner to play on the right side of our defence next to Taylor Harwood-Bellis. Let's see how much he's going to cost to bring the Frenchman in. Well, I'm going to go in with an initial bid of market valuation at 16 mil. Chief Exec reckons we might have to pay up to 21. I think we can get him a little bit cheaper, maybe around 17 to 18 million. I'm going to go in at... We'll meet in the middle. We'll go 17.5. I'm happy with the 10% sell-on clause because I don't think we're going to be selling him anytime soon. And Omar Solé looks as if he's on his way to England. I really need to sign a new winger, but the man that I want to get, Abdul Fatawu, is going to cost us pretty much all of that budget. So, yeah, with the fact I wanted an attacking midfielder and a central midfielder, I really don't know what to do with the rest of the money that we've got in the budget. Well, there's another deal going through here in the meantime as Lewis Payne heads out to Watford on a 2-year loan. Again, I like that one, keeping him in the English Football League. Got a few more players we want to loan out, but no one really that's going to bring in any more funds. And I'm really struggling with deciding who to buy. That's another player going out on loan. That's Zach Orr, the central defender, heading to Poland for 2 years. Well, there's another deal going through. That's Nico Lawrence, also heading to the Championship to join up with Preston North End for 2 years. Well, another deal going through here, and I think that's Sam Amayor. Yeah, it is. Also heading to Coventry City. So Coventry are going to have Dibbling on the right and Double A on the left. I love that, both linking up at the Rico. What I wanted to do was have a look at the youth academy and actually get rid of the players that I don't think are that great. So Max Hartley, same with Papadopoulos. He looks okay, but not amazing. Lawson as well. I really liked the look of this guy, but again, the potential's dropped and we can certainly find better. Same as Hooper. Oh, not promote to the senior team, release youth player. We can do better, and if we can do better, then I don't want them in the youth academy. Similarly with Hugh Sharp, I'll keep him in there for now. The 81 to 87 is not the greatest, and I want to free up some room in the youth academy so that if we find the creme de la creme like these boys at the top, we've got room to promote them. Let's go and check out our first batch of scouting and see if we found anyone decent. Well, it is difficult to find players in the first month's worth of scouting, but Ibrahim Koulibaly does look pretty decent potentially, and Ibu Sonko as well, 79 to 94 potential already. He does look very good, so we'll keep an eye on these two from Senegal. As for England, of course, now looking for some defenders. Kai Vaughan, he looks very good. 53 to 71 overall and 75 to 94 potential. We are really finding, speaking of creme de la creme, some really, really good youth players. And as for the Maldives, well, I'm buzzing for this. Let's see what we've got. Ahmed Hassan could be pretty decent. Same as Ibrahim Saeed. They both look pretty solid. This Saeed will be turned away, same as Mohammed Ibrahim. But the other, John Ibrahim, looks pretty solid as well. 72 to 94 potential. And these first three out of the setup in the Maldives look pretty solid. Well, looks as if we've got a couple of big offers here, as Chelsea putting in a bid for Aaron Ramsdale. I said there'd be big interest in him. He did win the Golden Glove last year. That bid for Gavin Bazunu we're going to turn down. But what do we do with this for Aaron Ramsdale? I said I'd never stand in my players' ways, But do Chelsea really need a goalkeeper? I mean, he did win the Golden Glove, so of course there's going to be interest. It's only his first real season at the club. Who have they got? So they've got Jorgensen, Kepa and Sanchez. I mean, is Aaron Ramsdale a step up on what they've got? Yes, he probably is. And if I said I didn't want to stand in players' ways, we may be looking at losing our number one who won the Golden Glove for us last year. That would be a big, big sale. I'll tell you what, I'm going to say to Chelsea here, if you'll give us 47 million, which is double what he's currently valued at 23.5, they're not willing to go quite that high. We'll go 45 million for the Englishman. And again, they're not willing to go that high. What if we meet in the middle and go 42.5 million? That is the absolute lowest I will go for the Englishman. Are they willing to pay it? They are. So Aaron Ramsdale looks as if he could be on his way to Arsenal's rivals Chelsea after just 1 year on the South Coast. He was fantastic for us last year. He won us so many points. But he is probably by far our best player. So it's no surprise. And I said it at the end of last season, it's no surprise that somebody has come calling. And there is the deal. It didn't take him long to sign. But what it does do is it frees us up a lot of money. Aaron Ramsdale is out. We are going to have to sign a replacement, of course. But Aaron Ramsdale for 42.5 million is heading to Chelsea to be their number one. So just 5 days before our Premier League opener, our budget rises to 76.8 million. Well, I'm still undecided on the goalkeeper. We are going to have to bring someone in before that Premier League opener. But what I am actually going to do beforehand is try and bring in Trey Hume. I didn't realise that I've actually not got a backup right back now. I've only got Kyle Walker-Peters. And I think Trey Hume's out of contract in the summer, so we can get him for under the valuation. Yeah, I'm going to go in initially at 4.4 million plus Stewart. And just see, they don't actually want Ross Stewart. That's kind of annoying because I was hoping I could get him back there. But 5.1 million is very cheap here. Gonna go back at 4.5. And what a steal that is for Trey Hume. 4.5 million to bring the Northern Irish defender up to the Premier League. Well, Trey Hume is in, and that's actually a really, really good budget buy for just 4.5 million because he can play on both sides as well. Leif Davis is pretty comfortable on both as well, but Trey being right-footed makes more sense that he can play on the right to cover Kyle Walker-Peters when he needs to have a breather. We've got Shirkin, who can cover for Leif Davis. Got loads of cover at centre-back with Taylor and Solé, Bednarek, Stevens, Wood and Taylor who can play there. So I'm pretty happy with our defensive options. Still need to bring in a right winger to play off that side in front of Walker-Peters, and potentially a new holding midfielder as well, and maybe a new attacking midfielder. So a goalkeeper, a right winger, a holding midfielder and an attacking midfielder. Still got 4 players that I want to bring in before we close out the window. Well, with 70 million in the budget, I know that I certainly, at least for the starting 11, need to bring in a right winger and a goalkeeper as well, though Gavin Bazunu's pretty solid to step in at 77 overall. But we definitely need a right winger, so I'm going to go and pick that player up right now. I mentioned earlier who he is, and I've actually just gone past him. Abdul Fatawu from Leicester City, relegated to the Championship. But this guy, as an inside forward on the right, looks absolutely perfect. He's quick, he's got great agility, great balance. The stamina needs a little bit of work, but it's not too bad at 73, and his technical stats as well are brilliant. 81 crossing, 81 dribbling, pretty decent finishing, and he's got a free kick on him as well. 84 shot power, 82 long shots. he is the step up we need on that right hand side. He's going to probably cost us close to 30 million, but I'm hoping I can get him closer to the market valuation at 24 million. Well, Leicester City wanting 29 million. Tension bars filled up quite a lot. I'm going to go back in at 25, and that seems a lot more like it. I'm going to stick to my guns and say 25 million. Well, we're going to have to pay 26.1 for him, as Steve Cooper would not budge on that 0.1. But to be honest, that's a little bit less than the chief exec thought we would have to pay at 28 million. And for a player of this quality with the potential that he's got, what a signing this may prove to be. Well, to me, this is just the absolute perfect pickup on that right-hand side. A third player that we've signed from one of the relegated teams, and actually one from each of the relegated teams. So we're really using our finance as well, and I'm absolutely loving this rebuild so far. It's been so much fun in the beginning of Season 2. But yeah, Abdul Fatawu is in to play on that right-hand side, and I think he is going to be the perfect fit for this team. Well, the summer transfer window has been a busy one, and it's absolutely flown by, and we've made it to match day 1 of the new Premier League season. Now, normally I would play the opening game to close out the first episode of a new season, but with so much transfer drama, I think I'm going to leave you on a bit of a cliffhanger. We'll save match day 1 away at St James's Park for the next episode, where we've still got lots of transfers to do to complete the rebuild of this Southampton team. So guys, I'll catch you in the next episode. I hope you have enjoyed part 1 of the rebuild. We'll be back in the next episode to complete the job and play through the first couple of weeks of the season as well. I'll catch you for that next episode very soon, guys. Take care and peace.